welcome back to Afternoon Live. Our next guest not only believes humans will be living to age 120 in the next decade, he believes by the end of this century, humans could have a life expectancy of 150. Here to explain his incredible predictions, we welcome the author of The Secrets to Immortality, cardiologist Dr. Ernst von Schwarz. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me on, Hannah. It's my pleasure.
What led you to this field of study and to deciphering just how long humans might live pretty soon here?
Well, I'm a cardiologist, especially a transplant cardiologist, so I deal with really sick people on a daily basis. And the only option oftentimes we have is to replace an organ during our heart transplantation. But there's limits, of course. It requires a whole team. It requires enough donor organs, and there's a shortage. So we have much more patients who would need that rather than what we can provide. So we have to look since years for other ways to regenerate damaged tissue. And that led us to the fact of regenerative medicine, which is like a shift in the paradigm from what we call reactive medicine to regenerative medicine, where we basically try to repair the damage rather than just dealing with the damage. And this is done in part by use of stem cell therapy, which is not yet FDA approved. However, every single study which has been conducted in different conditions, from hair loss to diabetes to heart failure, has shown very promising positive results. So that's where we are going. And by applying those methods of regenerative medicine in the future, we will overcome, and I have no doubt about that, things like osteoarthritis, immobility due to frailty, muscle weakness, and hopefully cardiovascular diseases.
That's really exciting. So for us, just in our day-to-day lives, are there certain things you recommend that can increase our own longevity?
Well, there's 5 things which everybody should do, actually. And they're the basics and the simple things. Number 1 is diet, and we can't emphasize that enough. A healthy, fresh diet, get rid of all those processed foods. The fresher, the healthier, the better, basically, for your body. We all recommend a kind of type Mediterranean type diet, which means there is more vegetables, more salads, less red meat, but more fresh stuff. The second thing, of course, we all know that, is exercise. And exercise is not the same like exercise. Exercise means you have to get your heart rate up. You have to basically sweat. You have to feel it. You have to get short of breath. If you do a slow walk in the evening, that's more a social activity rather than a physical exercise. So it has to be really a challenge for the heart in order for the heart to pump stronger, but also more importantly, to keep the blood vessels elastic, because that determines aging. Number 3, and we often forget about this, is, of course, get enough rest and sleep, because we need to recharge our batteries. And it's not only just sleeping, it's also doing things for resting our mind, whether it's meditation, whether it's prayers, whatever helps us to recharge our bodily batteries.
We only have about 30 seconds left, so I want to make sure you get your final 2 recommendations in here.
Final 2 are very simple, very quick. Number 1, replenish or generate deficiencies. So if you have vitamin D deficiencies, for example, make sure you get an appropriate substitution. And lastly, consider what I mentioned at the beginning, regenerative therapy for the future in order to avoid age-related degeneration.
Great recommendations, simple but really important reminders. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me on.
The book, again, is Secrets to Immortality. We'll have more information on our website at KATU.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this. First, here is the latest must-have gadget.